Let's look at the next question. Now guys, as I mentioned, I don't have the table in front of me. So because of that, you need to add the coordinates to the table. So this is going to be y equals negative x cubed, right, plus 2x squared, okay, plus x minus 2. Okay. Now when we equate this equal to 0, it means we're solving for the x. X what? X intercepts, right? So I'm going to make that 0 equals negative x cubed plus 2x squared plus x minus 2. So now I want you to notice something. I don't like working with negatives here because it makes the factorization a little bit more challenging. So what I'm going to do is we multiply the entire thing by negative 1, which makes that positive. It makes this thing and this thing, makes this negative, and this positive, right? So let's type that one in the calculator for the purposes of solving. Okay, what does that look like? 0 equals, we're going to get our first factor on the basis of synthetic division. Let's go through the steps. Once again, mode, there we go. We put it in table, which gives us f of x equals, and now we type in the equation. Positive x cubed minus 2x squared right, minus x plus 2. And this is, you should have an equation that looks like that. And you can see there's a piece of it missing. Press equal to, it gives you your g of x. Ignore the g of x. Start at minus 5, end at positive 5, and step 1. Okay? And now you have this function. Do you see that? Okay. So I'm going to move down. I want to see, there I go. Minus 1 yields a 0 on f of x. If I have minus 1 inside the x, I get 0 on f of x. Okay? So from the calculator, I've noticed that x equals minus 1 is a solution, and that tells me that x plus 1 is a factor. Okay, what's the next step, people? What do I do from here? I use what? What am I going to use?
You use synthetic division.
Synthetic division, right. So let's set up our table. What goes here?
0.
0. And what's this going to be? X cubed, x squared, and d, right? So what goes here on the outside?
Minus 2.
Not minus 2. For my question, the solution goes there, which I'm going to make negative 1. Okay, so now the coefficients of x cubed, I'm going to work with the second version, right? Or you can use the first version, doesn't really matter, but I'm going to work with the second one, right? And then this is going to be what? Quickly?
So it's going to be 1, negative 1. No 1.
That's going to be 1, minus 2, minus 1, and positive 2. What do I do downwards? Quickly, work with me. Add. So what's my solution there? Quickly. 1 plus naught is? 1. Right. Negative 1 times 1 is? Negative 1 times 1 is? Negative 1. Negative 2 plus negative 1?
Negative 3.
Right. Negative 1 times negative 3?
3.
Positive 3, right? Negative 1 plus positive 3?
Negative 2.
Negative positive 2, right? And negative 1 times positive 2, focus, is negative 2. And then lastly, what do I get here?
0.
0. That 0 is important because it shows me there's no remainder, and that's what we're looking for, right? This is a reduced polynomial, which is what? X to the power of 2x and c. So let's insert that over there. I'm going to keep it in blue. That's going to be x squared, and this is going to be what? Negative 3x plus 2. Now I want you to focus very, very carefully here. I'm going to put a negative sign in the front here, just so that I didn't change the function. Are you with me? So here I multiplied by negative 1, or I could multiply by -1 and just put this negative on the outside so that everything remains equivalent on top. Okay, that's not going to change our solutions in any way. So that's negative, that's going to be x plus 1. This is factors of 2 such that when I add them I should get what? What should I get? Factors of 2 that I add to give me 3, which gives me what? 1 and 2. The signs will be what?
Negative.
Negative and negative. This here indicates that the signs are the same, Kothar, so both has to be negative. And therefore the solutions are as follows. X equals what? -1, or x equals +1, or x equals 2. Right? Are we good? Let's state that as coordinates. This is -1 on the x and 0. And what's the second coordinate? Sorry, that's -1 on the x, 1 and 0. And the third coordinate will be 2 and 0. Okay, so that was the third equation that was given. Are you guys with me? Right? You can go and take this and put it in your table under x-intercepts for that third graph. If you go and visit Desmos, what you can do there is you type in this entire equation the way you see it. You'll notice that it touches on that part. So let's go and do that quickly. Where's Desmos as a graphing calculator? Okay, so in Desmos we can now see that when I graph this curve, let's check if this matches with our solutions that we found earlier. Right? That's there. I'm going to zoom in. One of the solutions is, one of the x-intercepts is at 2. Do you see that? The other one is at 1, and the other one is at -1. Remember, these are points, so that's -1 and 0 on the x. 0 on the y. That's going to be +1 and 0, and this point here will be 2 and 0. Okay. Righto, and that's what it looks like. Now the only thing we need to do to still sketch cubic graphs is to teach you how to find that point, and that is where the calculus comes in. Up until this point we are still just using algebra techniques.